self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists. What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another wonderful, fantastic episode. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. MISTER_on point, and on TikTok at Eddie B Talking and Eddie B Eating.
And I can be found on Instagram at red_calamity. We're still doing the list letter portion of the show. So if you have a question, a comment, a Reddit letter, whatever that you would like for us to read on the show, you can contact us on the aforementioned social media, or you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com.
And we do have some Reddit letters from Colin.
Okay. We are back in person.
We definitely are.
So this is the first. So last week was my fault. I got a sinus infection and it swelled my face up. Like bad.
It looked like she got beat up, y'all.
It looked like somebody whooped my ass. It really did. I had surgery to fix that, and it just didn't do it. Didn't fucking fix it. And
I ain't gonna say she looked this bad, but y'all remember when Martin had the face?
It was not that bad.
Flat face, like,
no.
It wasn't that bad. I said it wasn't that bad.
It was more like Will Smith on Hitch when he ate that shellfish or whatever on that day.
Yeah.
It was more like probably like that, I would say. But yeah, my sinus cavity on the left side of my face was affected enough, and I probably did it to myself because it was hurting so bad before it swelled that I went and got my little massager and put on my face. It felt so much better, but I guess it like spread the infection. I don't know what the fuck it did, but I woke up the next morning and my shit was swole. So,
and that's why we didn't record last week.
And week before it was when you were moving. You just moved back, so
clearly, because we're in person, everybody knows now I just moved back to Alabama. That has no impression on your life at all, but it very well may give us higher quality podcasting because we in the same space. We got the same mics. Mm-hmm. We're not doing it over Zoom. It's still a transitional period because we've been doing this for over 3 years now.
I know.
Zoom or Skype, and I don't know how the conversation gonna be different. Like, it feels better to be able to look at you and talk like we used to do. Mm-hmm. But we do a lot of reading when we are on the show, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think it would probably be the same, I would think. But also, before we get into the letters, if you follow me on Instagram, because a couple of you congratulated me because I did post it on there. So I applied to the University of Alabama's PhD program, fully thinking that I was not going to get in. And I fucking got in. So there's that. Now I got to figure out how to pay for it and find time to do it. I have the time. I don't really do anything other than work. It's finding the motivation more than the time. I have plenty of time where I could like do the work. Yeah. I don't want to.
Understood.
But yeah, I think Miss Cinnamon, there's a couple of people that congratulated me under that post on Instagram. So thank y'all. We'll see. I mean, PhD programs take a long fucking time. So this is a long beginning of a very long process that will inevitably take 4 to 5 years probably. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I had a lot of interesting responses to this as well. One being from my mother, who I love dearly. I feel like I need to preface this with that. She congratulated me like everybody else, but she was like, this ain't nothing that you or I did. You know, this is, you gotta thank God. And I got really fucking irritated by that because how you gonna say it ain't nothing? Yes, there's nothing that you did. Yes, I can accept that. But there's nothing that I did. You get your fuck fuck out of here. Like, you're not going to take this from me and just give it to God. Like, that's not, no, we're not going to do that. I had to make the GPA in my master's program. I had to write my statement of purpose. I had to secure letters of recommendation. I had to do the interview. How are you going to say it's nothing that I did? It was God, and give all glory to him. That shit really fucking made me mad. I had to get off the phone because my mom is the kind of religious where it wouldn't have even mattered if I had called her out and told her it felt dismissive of my achievements and like the hard work that I put in, because she was gonna just, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you need to acknowledge God. Like it was just, there was no way that conversation was gonna go well. And I've just learned to pick my battles as it pertains to, especially religion and politics. I'm just not finna fucking debate people about that shit. I'm just not, because people feel so strongly about it that there's no point. It's just gonna serve to frustrate me. So, but it made me mad because I was like, well, how you sound? Like, I know you think in your mind that this is like encouraging maybe, but it's not. It's dismissive as fuck.
Damn.
That shit made me mad.
You know, if you read the Bible enough, that you'll understand that somebody's life can be going normal as it's supposed to, and God don't do nothing but get them trials and tribulations. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like God is a lesson teacher from the Bible. Like, he ain't, like, he the daddy that's gonna, you know, put something up too high and tell you to reach and get it and figure out how to get it, you know, without the tools to be able to do it. Ain't no step ladder, ain't nothing. You just gonna go without it for a long time. And at the end, you're supposed to have a lesson from it. And the reality is, though, instead of saying, thanks, Dad, I appreciate that lesson, you be like, I can't believe that fuck nigga put that shit on that high ass shelf. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a bullshit. And you know, again, there's fathers out here who do a lifetime full of that with kids and be like, no, they have to learn these lessons. They have to learn these lessons. Not saying mamas don't do it, but daddies really be on that, like, abstract lesson teaching shit, that benevolent lesson teaching shit, you know. But, you know, my mama did something similar in terms of me moving, and, you know, I praise God that you got here and everything that you've done is through the Lord. And I'm like, Mama, God didn't put all that shit in that truck. He did not. He did not. I did. And I don't know where, I mean, maybe God gave me the strength to go up and down them steps 30 or 40 times at my daddy's house to bring stuff up and down. But realistically, I had to recover some days.
Yeah.
God makes more sense to me as an abstract distanced. If he created the world, he created it. Calvinism would say that he created it like a watch. You know, when you get a watch, it's not moving, but when you turn that knob on it, then it go forever. If that's what happened, that makes so much more sense. But I can accept that.
But it doesn't make sense then, if that's the case, for people to give him credit for so much, right?
But that's their delusion. You know what I'm saying? Like, if God is up there, like, I can't believe these niggas still giving me credit. I really can't believe it. That book that they reading with me in it, that whoever wrote that shit, genius. I mean, I gave him the genius, but I just didn't know that it was gonna do this like this. You know, well, I did know, but it's still surprising. It's still surprising to me.
The levels at to which people go to give him credit for things, and I think part of it is that it gives people the belief, or it helps the belief continue, right? Because, like, truthfully, when is the last time there's been a Bible level miracle or some shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit that's supposedly happening in the Bible ain't happened, right? So the only way for you to keep in your mind that God exists and he's continuing to do things is to give him credit for these everyday ass things that he doesn't have anything to do with, because then you could say, well, yeah, that was God. So he's there. He still loves us. Because there's really no evidence to, other than your faith and your belief. There's no evidence outside of that. So I think this is to continue it going.
Maybe miracles used to be real. Maybe miracles used to be more necessity.
Why
but
would
now
they
God's
stop?
like, you don't need miracles. You got Teslas. Like, you don't need, you have electricity, bro. You don't need miracles. You just need an outlet.
A lot of times, though, in the Bible, the miracles were conducted to help to convince non-believers, right? Like Moses was able to do all of this like shit for the Pharaoh, trying to convince him that yes, this God exists. Yes, you need to let my people go. He gonna fuck you up. Like it was to convince non-believers. So I think there's still room for that.
But
Today it would help a lot if he would just like do one big ass miracle. Everybody would be on the same accord.
It would be. But
like it'd be so simple.
also, if people today had to kind of like if I had a staff that could turn into a snake, I bet some niggas would believe in.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's still a benefit to miracles. So I don't understand why they don't happen, because most of the miracles in the Bible that I remember were done to convince non-believers. It was people who believe saying God exists. This is how I can show you that he does. And then they do some miraculous shit, right? It would help to have that now. There's atheists and agnostic and all these different. It would be so simple. One big ass worldwide miracle and everybody be on the same accord. We can stop all of this shit. All of these wars and shit easy. It's an easy fix. But this is why I don't understand this benevolence that everybody attributes to him, because it is a simple fix. You could stop a lot of this bullshit going on down here with a simple thing, and he don't do it.
But why?
He just said, well, because he's not benevolent. No.
You seen Death Note?
Well, yeah.
What's the anime that you seen that had a warring protagonist and antagonist?
The only anime that I've watched is One Punch Man. There really wasn't a warring protagonist.
It is not, because One Punch Man is stupid.
It's funny though.
My favorite kind of anime is when you got a genius level intellect antagonist, genius level intellect protagonist, antagonist protagonist, both of them, and they're warring with the intellect.
Yeah, but we're not genius level.
No.
Who would be the antagonist and the protagonist in this situation?
Hear me out. So, Death Note is one of them.
I know the premise, and I started watching it, but
for anybody listening, Light can kill people with this book, and L is trying to figure out who is killing people with this book. One is trying to get away from being found out. The other one is trying to find them out. I feel like that's God and Satan. That's God and Satan. We are caught, like in all of those anime, a host of regular people living their regular day lives is getting fucked up bit by bit because they having this thing.
But what is the war between God and Satan? What are they trying to accomplish?
I don't even know if it's a war. It's like a chess game. It's like a chess game with two people who eat dinner together.
But there would be no reason for God to play it. He's already won in the eyes of the humans. Everything that's bad is attributed to the devil, and everything that's good is attributed to God by humans. So what would God's point even be? You didn't win already. What is he trying to win in the chess match?
But that's how the most difficult to beat antagonists in movies be, when they just doing it for fun, when they don't have no purpose.
But again, that makes him even worse of a deity.
No, I'm not saying God or Satan is the good or the bad ones. God I mean, if a human did the shit that God did with an ant farm or some kind of colony of animals that they had, you're a fucking psychopath.
Yes.
That's what's you're going to be called a psychopath.
Yes.
Because in this scenario, you're going to have to kill them. You're going to have to allow some to have food and others not to have food. You're going to allow some that get all the cheese who don't deserve the cheese, and some of them who deserve the cheese to barely have any. You're going to have to do a bunch of shit that is not conducive to being perceived as a good entity. So it do feel like Christianity is more akin to a Stockholm syndrome. It's like we have to be nice to our captor because we might get some treats at the end. That's what it is.
It blows my mind. Like, and again, I know that my mom didn't mean anything negative by it. But, like, it just doesn't make any sense to say that you just can't attribute everything to him. I'm sorry, you can't. Like, even within the Bible, there's a verse that says faith without works is dead. So, obviously, you got to do some shit. At a point, like, I don't know. Religion just, and I've heard recently some people saying some things that just really the level of acceptance in things from people in the things that we'll make okay. Because you're right. Some of the things that people attribute to God, if this was a human doing this, they be all kind of toxic. We'd be telling them that you're being gaslit. Like, it would be problematic. But because he's a deity, it's okay. And we not only accept it, we welcome it. It just doesn't. I can't. But so yeah, she and again, I haven't even brought this up to her because I know her level of faith. It'll just piss me off. We had arguments about this when since I've been a kid, I've always been, help me understand, and nobody can ever help me understand. That's the thing. It's like, you can't explain it to me, and you can't tell me just believe. That's not help. That's not how my brain works. I need you to explain it to me in terms that make sense and something that's tangible. And you can't do that with religion. And when I would ask questions about why, the answers that I would get would be, well, you don't question God. We don't question God. I'm not questioning God. He ain't here. I'm asking you because you don't want telling me this shit. So help me understand it. Other than just telling me I should just believe it just cause. That doesn't work. I can't accept that. I'm sorry.
I know this is going to be hard to conceptualize, but let's say that God is real and God revealed himself to you.
Okay.
And communicated to you that he is real.
Okay.
Do you feel like, I know there's a component of you have to have that experience to for your brain to shift to be like, nah, okay, this shit's real. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it would be easy for you to shift into a life of accepting that he's real and doing the stuff that he asked to do in the Bible? Or like you gonna continue to live with the risk of going to hell because...
His revealing himself to me would also have to come with us having a conversation and some of my questions being answered. Like, okay, you real, but like, help me understand. Because if you are going to have me doing this shit, cool. But I need to know, I need a better understanding. So I don't think he'd ever reveal himself to me.
That's fair. Because I'm going to be like, listen, just to be certain, you told Abraham to kill his son. And then at the last minute, you said, don't do that. And is that what happened? Bro, they got the story wrong. That's not how they did it.
I would have
you would need those justifications for him to be like, listen, the Bible is 25% real. 75% kings manipulated that shit.
Yeah.
75% there's a bunch of books that they didn't put in it that explain some shit. 75% they left a lot of women out of this motherfucker, and I want the women that I created to be in there. So 25% of the Bible is realish in the sense that these things did happen.
Yeah. But
then it's like a story of telephone. The retelling of all of these things have trickled down into some shit that it's not what it is.
I could accept that. Like, if we could sit down and have a conversation in some of these things, and you could help me not feel like you're just because your existence doesn't negate the other bullshit, right? Because now I just believe you exist as a psychopath that's just fucking with humans. So I would still need, like, you exist. We got that part. Help me understand what it is you're trying to do. Because from my perspective as one of the humans being impacted by the things that you're doing, it just seemed like you just fucking with us.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why, if you're supposed to love us, what kind of love is this? So it couldn't just be a reveal. We would have to have and it wouldn't even be yesterday. The Publix up here by my house, mm-hmm. There was a white man standing out there with a loudspeaker screaming religious stuff. Just standing on the corner telling everybody that they need to be faithful and repent and just yelling. Even if God revealed himself to me, we had a conversation, I believed in him, I would not go then and be trying to convince other people. If that was one of his ask of me, I ain't gonna be able to do that, player.
Gotcha.
I would not become like what are they called? What are they called? The little white people that go to like Africa and missionaries. I would not become a missionary.
Okay.
That would not be, nah.
So before we move on to Colin's letter, we both gonna answer this.
Okay.
You can ask God one question and he is 100% going to tell you the truth about it. What question are you asking?
Only one.
I got a range of questions, and you can put a range of things that you would ask that you want to know. So one thing that I would want to know is, do we come back? Like, what happens to us after we die? Do we come back? Is there an existence after we gone that we still feel like an existing presence, or is it really just no existence anymore? It's done. I want to know that for one thing.
I want to know why. Why do we exist? Like, why did you, like, is it like, so I got my Sims game queued up in the background. Is it that? Is it that we're like little dolls that it's just for entertainment? Like, what made you want to create humans? And then allow, I don't know if allow is the right word, I guess, because free will and all that, but like create humans and then stand back and watch all of the, like, 400 years of slavery, Holocaust, like atrocities, like made fucking ham, like not like the day-to-day motherfuckers getting killed in Birmingham kind of shit, but I'm talking mass fucking, the people that did mass murders in the name of religion, like all of that. Why? I would want to know why. The death after I don't, I guess knowing, I wouldn't want to know, because if he tell me we come back and I got to come back at some bullshit, I don't want to know that. I still like to probably be surprised about the death thing. Because if I know and it's some bullshit, I'm just going to be dreading it for the whole rest of my current existence. I don't think I want to know that. Because if it's something good, then you got something to look forward to. But if it's bullshit, then you're just going to be like, well, goddamn, I'm going to be an ant one day. Or
I'm okay with being an ant.
Or
I'm okay with being whatever I would be next, knowing that there will always be a next. I'd be okay with knowing that piece. I'd even be okay with it being just this eternal darkness. I'd be okay with that too.
I'd be just,
What I won't be okay with is that actually, to be honest, is there actually being a heaven and a hell.
Why?
I just feel like it's like another capitalism. It's like heaven is the 1% and hell is like everybody else.
Well, that's if you could buy your way in. But if it's based off of like whatever,
only 144,000 people supposed to get in heaven.
That's by Jehovah's Witness.
But I'm just saying, even so, I wonder what is the actual percentage of people that are good enough to get into heaven versus the people that go to hell.
I get you to know that you would have to know what the conditions were to get in, right. And I don't think we know enough. I think we know what people tell us and what religion would say based off of the Bible, but I don't think we truly know what it is, because at the end of the day, my understanding is, if right before you could have lived the most terrible fucking life known to man, if before you die you repent for those sins, you get into heaven. Far as I know, that you could be repent. That's why Jesus died, was for that get out of jail free ticket, as it were. So like, if that's the case, then long as you got the time, like, I mean, if we gonna talk about somebody that got swooped up in a fucking, plane engine, he ain't have time to repent. So if he didn't live right, he probably went to hell. But like, if you got like an illness, like I got cancer and I had like all this time knowing I can repent my ass off for all the things I did until a point.
When I first heard about the idea of repenting, nobody said that it had to be like meaningful and it had to be genuine and you had to believe.
They don't say that.
Well, that's come to be my understanding of it. Like, because I used to go to sleep at night like, I repent, bitch. And just be like, got him. Got him. You know what I'm saying? Like.
But you would, I don't know. I feel like, okay, let's say Hitler level of like fuckery. Okay. If Hitler did know, because then he killed himself to keep from getting captured when like all of the shit was coming down. He probably truly did. I don't know that he regretted what he did. He probably regretted. There's a level of regret that I think would be there. And I think his repentance, he truly would want to get into heaven. Now, whether or not he was truly sorry for the bullshit, I probably not. I don't know. That whole concept's weird to me. All of that, I need to understand all of those things. And I know I can't get to understand it because humans don't have the answers. They just don't. Again, their thing is you're supposed to just have faith based off of a book that was written by men and translated. So we don't even know if the original translate that it was even translated correctly. And you're just supposed to like use that as your barometer for living. And this became a whole fucking session on religion, which was not supposed to be.
This was not the intention, y'all.
I just wanted to comment on the fuckery that my mom said when I got into this PhD program, but it neither here nor there. I got in. Is a long story short, and now I gotta like research scholarships and fellowships because I gotta get it paid for in order for me to be able to go. So getting in was cute, but I gotta pay for it.
And congratulations.
So thanks.
And I feel like I'm gonna take credit for a piece of this. Clearly after this you're gonna do everything, but the decision, I feel like you were at some philosophical
I wasn't
dilemmas.
Gonna apply. Yeah, I wasn't gonna apply.
And I told her, 1, they need some black people.
Yeah.
2, they need some black women. 3, a black woman with red hair. You already know she out there.
Oh, I was like, what is it? Because you said that before, and I was intending to ask you, what is the red hair?
It's because it is your open willingness to not conform to society. So what does that look like in a black woman in a psychology program? Okay. That had to be what somebody thought. Like if a motherfucker, if I was interviewing somebody and a motherfucker came in there with a neck tattoo, that's what I would be thinking. Clearly he has the qualifications to be in this room.
Yeah.
And he has a life that forces him to not conform, or either he has the trauma that he wants to show the world whatever his pain is. I would be thinking of it like that. I'd be like, this motherfucker, it way different than the Becky that walk in there with a pumpkin spice fucking latte to put on the table. I tell you that right now.
I was gonna ask you that when you said it. I was like, because all the other things, I was like, yeah. You got to the red hair. I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
it makes a difference in my mind.
Yeah, I had bright. It was bright that day.
Yeah,
that I did the interview, so they know what I look like. I had the interview with them, but yeah, man, we'll see. I'll keep. Again, this is a 4 to 5 years fucking thing. So like, if I actually get the money to go, I'll keep y'all updated as far as that. But like once I get in, there's really not going to be just fucking classes and writing essentially a whole goddamn book, a dissertation.
The dissertation ain't going to be bad. It's not going to be bad. By the time, and I'm picking this up, I don't know if it's insecurity showing up or just a desire to understand and know more. But listening to a few people that I follow on TikTok, one of them is named Professor Odie, Pan-African psychologist. He went to a psychology program that centers the African experience. It's an HBCU. And then Donnell Rice, who is a theologist who helped deconstruct Christianity. And Donnell Rice, his dissertation was on hip hop. It was the correlation between hip hop and theology. How much hip hop theology is within hip hop. But by the time you get to the point of writing your dissertation, the amount of things that you've read regarding all of that is going to be secondhand knowledge. It sounds like right when you don't have the knowledge, the idea of writing a fucking 100 pages something, is tough. But like
bananas.
40 of them pages going to be straight out of your brain.
Yeah.
And the other 60 pages is going to be your take on other people's information that you get from other places.
Yeah.
But at the end, just listening to them talking, I'd be like, this is what it looked like when you know some shit.
Yeah.
This is what it looked like when you know some shit. And so and I am not in a position where I know some shit from an intellectual reading, writing perspective. But I have my inner community family working experience along with the readings that I've done to kind of really validate some of those perspectives. But I don't know shit the way that they know shit. And I don't know shit the way that you gonna know shit about whatever
I don't know shit right now.
I'm not gonna know shit the way that you're going to know about the shit that you write your dissertation about. Because by the time you get there,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to spew that shit in your sleep. You're going to be having dreams about telling niggas about that shit you finna write about, you know. That's why you have to make sure you choose something that is going to be either relevant to the world and society so that you can always have a place in utilizing that information.
Yeah.
Or something that you inherently value. And I think with Donnell Rice, I think it was both of them.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to choose hip hop. Like, what's the best way to have a dissertation to be able to talk about Biggie, Pac, Jay-Z, and all of these people and say that, yes, I've done extensive research listening to the Black Album 17 times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
what I told them my proposal was going to be on was racial disparities in healthcare as it pertains to Black women and the infant mortality rates and how that impacts mental health. That's the generalized. You know, obviously I'll have to nail it down, but that was what I told them and what I think it will be. So we'll see. But yeah.
Is that something that you desire to do? Or is that just a thing that's going on right now?
A little bit of both. I have had clients recently, within the last year or so, that have either miscarried or had stillborns, and part of the issue is they feel like they weren't listened to by the doctors. Like they felt like they knew something was wrong. They tried to express it, and they were not paid attention to. And so I do think it's a legitimate issue. And it does have, I mean, you know, trying to do therapy with somebody that lost a fucking child is trash. So
when I was in grad school, I did a project, my poster session. When you're in a graduate program in psychology, at some point you got to go to a conference and do a poster session where you put up a topic. Mine was on 3 different things. Intergroup anxiety, which is the anxiety that one person gets engaging with another group. So it's like when you have a white person that come to engage with a group of Black people, there's anxiety that individual experiences. That stereotype threat, which is the assumptions that we make about other groups and how we feel threatened by those things. For example, the stereotype that the Asian community is good at math and how we may look at that stereotype if we adopt it and think that we're inferior to an Asian person as it pertains to math. Or another culture may look at us and feel inferior because we be dancing and shit. And even though we can't all dance, but you know.
No, we cannot all dance.
And the other one was oppositional culture theory. That is the acting white accusation.
Oh, okay.
Which doesn't exist just within Black people, but you know, you wear Abercrombie and Fitch, you got on that white boy shit like that. Or it also exists within farmers and judges' kids in places where there's just white people. Yeah. It's basically a system where you have traded out your culture for some of theirs, and we do not approve of you for that. And it was a guy who had wrote a lot of psychology books. I can't remember his name at this point, but he was in a hotel with us the night before all the students. He came and just say, hey, he was a Black multicultural dude. And he was like, he brought up this thing and he said, there's this thing, I can't remember the name of it. And he defined it. And I said, stereotype threat. Just coincidentally, my shit just so happened to be like that. And everybody looked at me like, wow. And he said, this guy, like, he knows some shit. Like, that's how he was. He said, I'm actually going to come check out your poster session tomorrow. And he came to check out my poster session. And he said that there is so much space and room in doing this topic that if you were to go use this, there's a wealth of room for you to create a name for yourself in this field because it's just, so that's probably what I would do if I go back to school, which ain't off the table, but not interested right now. Anyway.
I mean, I ain't interested. Again, I just know that the longer I wait, the less likely it'll be to happen. And I do know that teaching would be a long-term goal that I would want to achieve. So I'm getting out of the way now because I know that part is something I want to do. I'm never going to want to fucking go to school. Yeah. It's not going to happen. I don't want to go now. I wouldn't want to go 2 years from now. I'm never going to want to fucking go. It's just not going to be the case. But this is like an end to a means to an end. Yeah. As essentially. Okay. But yeah, that was such a long tangent of a thing. But let's get to Colin.
Yeah, we did a lot of shit in this period of 35 minutes. All right. Colin sent us a Reddit letter. It says, am I the asshole for planning on celebrating my son's birthday on Veterans Day instead of my husband's service? All right. Let's see what's going on.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, is his birthday on Veterans Day, or are you just doing that because it's convenient?
Also, is Veterans Day... Oh, this is going to sound like an asshole question. Maybe Colin can answer. Is Veterans Day as important to veterans as it is to the rest of the world who gets to, I guess, absolve themselves of the little that they've done for the country by saying, I'm glad you did it?
Yeah. I guess it depends on the soldier. I mean, I think maybe some people care about it a little bit more than others, and like maybe vets that experience more combat. I don't know it's gonna depend on what her husband. If her husband's upset about it, then ma'am. I guess it just depends. But she asking this question, which leads me to believe that somebody has told her she's fucking wrong for this. Yes. Somebody in her life then said, "Bitch, this is not right."
And these are questions for Colin to give me some insight on too. Like, should I be saying Happy Veterans Day? You know what I'm saying? Because
I say to people that I know that I said thank you for your service. If I know that I don't go out of my way. But like if I know people in my life that have served, then I'll say that. But
I've done that before, and it turned into a "fuck America" conversation. And it's like, I don't know if I'm triggering trauma for people. Clearly, we wouldn't know whether we are
you're not
going
to know what their experience was, because there are people that this country's everything to them. And then because part of the reason is that America's history of taking care of people that have served for this country is fucked up. Like, it's so many homeless veterans and veterans with mental health issues that are unmanaged. And like, we do not take care of our veterans very well. And so I think a lot of times when you get that "fuck America" response, it's because, people, the country hasn't treated them well.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. My husband, 32 male, and I, 29 female, have been married for 3 years. He is a veteran of the U.S. Army and values his military service as a very important part of himself and his history. He served for 8 years before he was honorably discharged. I gave birth to our son, a male, nearly 2 months ago on November 11th.
Wait, 2 months ago? So he ain't even having a real fucking birthday.
Damn.
It's one of them made up bullshits that he's 3 months old.
Let's keep going. It's a long way from his next birthday, but we've still been discussing the logistics of how we're going to handle future holidays now that we have a baby. My husband is very particular about those kind of things, and he really likes having an idea of how things will go a long time in advance. It finally came up that he had been born on Veterans Day, which my husband obviously knew, but I didn't know if it sank in at the time. I told him that I intended to celebrate our son's birthday on November 11th, and we could have our Veterans Day dinner the day after. My husband was angry and said that it's unreasonable to move a whole holiday when the whole U.S. is celebrating on that day, and that we could celebrate his birthday the day prior or the next day. We still haven't come to an agreement. He thinks I'm an asshole for disrespecting his military service when the baby won't know his birthday is being celebrated a day later, but I think our son's birthday is much more important. Am I the asshole? There's an edit. It got complicated because the son's birthday is actually on Veterans Day.
Is Veterans Day... Okay, so Veterans Day is like Christmas. Like, Christmas is always the 25th. So Veterans Day is always this particular... It's not like the third, Easter's like the fourth Sunday, whatever. It falls on different dates. But a birthday is usually celebrated on the weekend. Veterans Day falls during the week sometimes. So she's going to throw a party for him like when it's during the week too? For his birthday? It's going to probably not be on that day anyway.
But what kind of celebrating do they do for Veterans Day that you can't do one at the beginning of the day, the other one at the end of the day, or switch it around? Like, what the fuck kind of
She didn't say what they normally do on Veterans Day.
But clearly everybody's in agreement that we can't do both of these things on the same day. Because she's saying that we should do Veterans Day the day after Veterans Day, and he's saying we should do birthday on the day before or the day after.
I don't know. I guess it depends. Or why? I don't know why. Because, like, people that are born on Christmas celebrate their birthday on Christmas, but we don't cancel Christmas. Like, it's just like... such and such was born, you got a birthday gift for his also Christmas. Or like, if your birthday's on Christmas, you probably not going to just get like a birthday party that day because people go to family. So like there's adjustments that are made when you're born on holidays. I don't know. I guess it depends on what he does on Veterans Day. Is it going to be something that's going to keep him from being able to be involved in the celebration of his son? Like, does he throw a Veterans Day party or some shit? Like, what does he do for that day that's significant enough that it may take him away from celebrating his son? That's weird. I don't know.
Can you do the same thing the next day? For example, if on Veterans Day he gets up with his, buddies that he, was in service with, and they all do a celebration on that day, with that day normally also being a day that you don't have to work or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't do that the next day, right? That's a consideration to make. So I'm really, and I don't want to just make this about Veterans Day, but I'm leaning towards the idea that there are certain allowances that can be made when a child is a baby that, they won't remember.
Cause see, like, okay, last year it was on, so it's November the 11th. Last year it was on a Friday. In 2021, it was on a Thursday. You see what I'm saying? So, like, who's going to have a kid's birthday party on a Thursday? And you're not. Like, most of the time when a birthday falls in the week, you have the party on the weekend so that he can invite his friends. As he gets older, he can invite his friends and stuff. And so, it might be a moot point I guess it just really depends on when it falls. Because it falls on different days. And you're not going to throw that kid no fucking birthday party. Especially not when he in school on no Wednesday after school.
But he won't be in school on that Wednesday.
When he gets older.
He still won't be in school on that Wednesday because it's a holiday.
Yeah. But you're not going, like, parents are not going to bring their kids. I would not bring my kid to a birthday party on a Wednesday. I don't give a fuck if I was off work. My off work in the middle of the week is not going to be spent doing no goddamn birthday party. If Jimmy can't have it on Saturday, you not going. Sorry.
I guess the biggest problem then would be if it falls on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah.
On days where you would normally throw the birthday party.
This year, let's see what it is. Because this is a recent letter, so let's see. So they would be talking about maybe this year. Yeah, November of this year, since the kid's 2 months old. So he was just born in November. It is on a... So it's on a Saturday this year, but the holiday is celebrated on Friday federally, where people are off work. So it's celebrated Friday, but the actual day is Saturday this year.
Damn, so the government don't even give a fuck about celebrating on the actual day that it's on.
Well, it's the same way with like Christmas. Christmas and New Year's this year both fell on Sunday. Everybody got off on Monday for the holiday to make sure that people still got an observance where they were able to be off work. So they care. I mean, they would celebrate if it was during the week and you could actually let your employees off, but like, it's not, I mean, I guess it's still a celebration, but like, is it if you ain't off work? Because they did it with Christmas and New Year's. I was off Mondays this year because it fell on a Sunday. And so technically, you could have just celebrated it then and went back to work on Monday, but the federal holiday was the day after.
I'm still gonna call her an asshole. Not because of this dilemma, but the last sentence that she added on to her letter made her an asshole to me.
What did she say?
She said that he thinks I'm an asshole for disrespecting his military service when the baby won't know his birthday is being celebrated here a day later. But I think our son's birthday is much more important. I think that's the fucked up part for me. She has just written off Veterans Day as something is important to her husband because she's decided that her son's birthday is more important to her instead of...
Yeah, I mean, he a fresh baby. You know how people are about them babies when they first get here. She ain't gonna give a fuck later, but like, he 2 months old. That's like the center of her universe right now. He is the most important thing to her.
But I think couples need to practice the idea of understanding what healthy things are to say versus healthy things are to think
yeah,
but act upon. And I'm not saying that she said this to him. This very well might be a throwaway account that she used on Reddit. And maybe she never said that to her husband. But I can imagine that the language that she's using to communicate to him makes him feel like she believes that the birthday is more important than Veterans Day because he believes, instead of being able to say, instead of understanding, I understand that day is as important to you as this day is as important to me, not this is more important, and we should both agree that this birthday is more important.
He's such a fresh baby. That's part of. She's still riding high on hormones and shit, and biologically, you mothers have to be like, he's everything.
And there's a 96% chance they white.
Yeah.
So the baby is see through. You can see the baby veins and shit like a little salamander looking ass thing.
I hate you.
It's different when you got melanin. We come out glistening in the sun and shit. They come out with the sun about to kill their ass.
What was her edit?
This the shit that be getting me in trouble.
What was her edit?
My husband is service disabled and usually spends Veterans Day catching up with military friends and visiting a nearby veteran cemetery.
Okay.
He has lost friends in combat.
Okay.
I also think it's important to add my husband is typically very modest about his service, and he is a wonderful father and a wonderful husband. His military service is something deeply important to him, and while I may disagree on how to handle our son's birthday, calling him a baby isn't fair at all. Regardless of the decision we make, I know he will respect it. He is generally very selfless, and I'm not going to divorce my husband because of a disagreement.
Who said to do? Like, people in the comments must have been getting wild. Okay.
But he posted this. Colin posted this to say for the comments, so we're gonna read some of those.
So that changes things. He is not. If he has lost friends in combat, they get together and they go to the fucking cemetery. He is not gonna be in no headspace to celebrate nobody's goddamn birthday.
Yeah,
that's just not gonna happen. So yes, that is something that would make it difficult to celebrate those two things on the same day. He's not gonna be in the headspace. He's gonna be emotional. That I can't imagine like how that must feel for him. So yeah, no, that does change it, and it makes more sense why it can't happen on the same day.
And you know what? I agree with that, and I'm gonna add, if she can put energy into helping him enjoy and get meaning out of Veterans Day, I think that will boost his ability to be the most present he can be for the son the next day.
Yeah,
I think that if you look at it in a total as a total package, I think if she made her obligation to make sure he enjoys that day, it'll make sure that he ain't depressed or sad. And doing it before that day will keep him from being in a space where he's preparing to think about these things that he don't want to think about. Actually getting closure on that day and those times for the next day
to be prepared
would be in her best interest.
Yeah, so my grandmother died close to my mom's birthday. Like, she died on we bury people very quickly. So she died on the 15th or like sometime in there. And my mom's birthday is the 20th of June. And there was conversation about, family members coming in when everybody was going to be able to get here. And my mom was like, oh, well, if we have to do it on my birthday, we're not fucking burying your mother on your birthday. So that's the thing that you we're not doing that. No. So either we're going to do it before or we're going to do it after, but you're not going to have to, for the whole rest of your fucking life, go and visit your mom's grave on your fucking birthday. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. So we did not allow her to do that. And I say that to say, it's when you have something like that, and like I said, she was just burying her mother. He's lost people, maybe even seen them die because he was in combat. And this is the day where him and his friends get together and they're there for each other and they go and pay respects to the people that nope, can't do that. And you can't ask him to change that routine with his fellow soldiers either. That makes a big fucking difference as to again why it should not be done. He shouldn't be asked to do it on the same day.
Yeah, that's
too much for him. It's unrealistic. What was these comments saying? Because they sound like they was being some assholes in the comments. Because y'all talking about divorce and that's a lot for this. Calm down.
All right. The first one says, not the asshole, and I'm speaking after serving 20 years in the U.S. military. Any veteran that will put Veterans Day above the birthday of his or her child is 100% the asshole. There's not one of my military friends that could even comprehend that. The next person says, ditto. I did 20 plus years, and I 100,000% celebrate my child's birthday over a Hallmark holiday. I don't need a whole day of thanking every single year. Most of my military friends actually hide this day.
But okay, so again, this is like a situation where perception matters. In their mind, he's wanting to be uplifted on this day, and what is actually happening is that he is honoring the people that have fallen. That he would like. He's not looking at it as a day that he's being uplifted and this my day, so y'all need to like that perception. Very different. So they looking at it from a very wrong perception of what it is for him. That's what it might be for them. It's just a day where people come up to them thanking them. But for him, it's a day where he's thanking the people that died. So, yeah, that's some bullshit.
And this is the essence of the statement that I made earlier about how sometimes you can say thank you for your service and it turned into a fuck America conversation. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can say thank you for your service and they'll pull a fucking a picture of an eagle out their pocket and be like, America. You know what I'm saying? It's the range of how these different people experience that shit. It makes a difference in the conversation.
I hate when people try to justify or try to like, you want to make his point moot by saying, well, I was in the military for 20 years and I don't care about it, so he shouldn't care about it neither. That's cool that you don't give a fuck about it, sir. But again, his reasons for caring about it are very different from your own. You cannot expect that every officer of all these branches of the military are going to feel the same fucking way you do about this goddamn holiday. Your response cannot be he's an asshole because he's not responding the way that I would respond also as an ex-member of the military. You sound like a douche just saying that. Like, y'all sound crazy.
We call that anecdotal evidence, y'all. We call it anecdotal evidence. If a research study says that 70% of people eat carrots, and you be like, well, I don't eat carrots, so I don't believe. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Okay, you don't eat carrots. You're in the 30%, motherfucker. That still means that 70% of other motherfuckers outside of you eat carrots, okay? So it's like, and I don't know if when people say that, like him saying, I was in the military service and I don't give a fuck. I don't know if he's really saying you shouldn't give a fuck too. Some people do that with anecdotal evidence. He may just be saying that as the fact that it is, but it also invalidates the other person's perspective.
It's equivalent in this situation to me to saying, well, I have a black friend, so I understand blackness. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. You probably don't even fully understand your friend because you going around and parading them as your one black friend. But you having one black person in your life that you talk to does not give you an up on blackness. Okay? Mm-hmm. It doesn't. You having 20 years of military service does not mean that it was the same service that this man served. It does not mean it was the same experience that he had. And it doesn't mean that y'all celebrate this fucking holiday the same. That's your experience. You can't speak to his. And you can't say that he's wrong because it wasn't your experience. Like, people.
Not the asshole. It's kind of concerning that your husband wants to overshadow his own son on his son's birthday. The next person says, that's exactly what this is. I need an extra day to celebrate me. My son will just have to wait.
Yep. Because y'all did not ask follow-up questions to see, well, why is the day so important to him? You would automatically assume it's because he want to be praised on his day and he don't want to share that with his son. And it don't even have anything to do with him in his mind. Dickheads.
This one say, not the asshole. Yes, a birthday outweighs Veterans Day. What does he want? A discount at the local bar? Poor kid. His dad cares more about being recognized for shooting people than he does about the kid.
Wow.
Next comment following up him. I read the edit. All of what he is doing should be done on Memorial Day anyway. Veterans Day is for the living. Catching up with his military buddies can happen any other day. I wonder what his military buddies would think about him disregarding his son to act like a boot. So I guess going to the memorials of his fallen buddies are another question. Colin May can give us some insight. Is it a difference between what you should be doing on Memorial Day versus Veterans Day, or is the fact that either of those days is a reminder of the service and the experience that you had relevant to who you are as an individual versus what the whole world is saying that this holiday is meant for?
I just don't. It's not like he might do that on Memorial Day too, right? It's like, let's say, okay, birthdays are usually celebrations of people's life. But when you're celebrating the birthday, because some people still like acknowledge people's birthday when they die, right? Mm-hmm. That celebration is gonna be different, right? Veterans Day for a veteran that hasn't experienced loss, they might just be able to just get with their buddies and stuff. But if you've lost somebody and you're with other military people, I think it would be difficult to not think about the ones that you lost, especially if you were witnessing the deaths or whatever the case may be. So to say that you have to, like, you celebrate both of these days, but one is for the living and one is for the dead, and you're supposed to, in your psyche, be able to make that distinction is unreasonable. Like, I don't know that our emotions work that way. I don't know that I could wake up and be like, okay, body, today's Veterans Day, so I gotta be happy. This is the day where I celebrate all the living people and I can't think about them dead folks. I don't think that's how that shit works. And that is not how trauma works. In theory, that sounds cute to say that Veterans Day is for the living and Memorial is for the dead. But, like, I don't think that your brain is just going to be able to, like, flick that shit on and off like that. Which is probably why they all go and go to the graves and stuff. Like, that's unreasonable to me. Even as somebody that hasn't experienced that kind of loss, hearing that sounds stupid. Memorial Day is for the dead and Veterans Day is for the living. I mean, okay. Calendar wise, how you gonna tell that man how his emotions supposed to be? How that works.
So this thread devolved into something that it shouldn't have gotten to. So I'm gonna read the whole thread. Not the asshole. I was born on Veterans Day and none of my military family members ever cared that my birthday was celebrated on 11/11. They celebrated with me. I find it really weird that your husband is holding Veterans Day as this day for holy day for military. When the whole U.S. is celebrating that day. Okay, if you call getting a day off work and sitting around in my underwear watching Supernatural and scrolling on Grindr all day celebrating. Next, sounds like a party to me.
Oh, God.
Next. If it's even a day off work, it's not a holiday for us. We get an email from the CEO and an invitation for a moment of silence at 11 a.m. My dad is a retired Marine of 20 years, and I don't even think we've ever acknowledged Veterans Day. Next, Veteran Day sales did get me some good deals on new appliances when we renovated our kitchen. Next, man, I don't even get Veterans Day off work, nor do I get a holiday pay for it. I guess I'd celebrate if I got some dick from a cute dude on Grindr, though. Happy Veterans Day to me.
Where are all these gay men into the comments anyway?
Happy Veterans Day to me. Now spit in my mouth, daddy.
Okay.
Next comment. I'm just going to go ahead and say target audience reached. This is what Reddit does, y'all.
How the fuck did we get here from there? Jesus. Yeah. That devolved quickly. Yeah, I mean, now understanding what he actually does on Veterans Day, I can see why it would be difficult for him to celebrate his son's birthday. I do not think that you can tell people when they are supposed to grieve. I don't think that you can say it can only be on this day, and then the other day you're supposed to just be happy and celebrate all your living folks because you can do that on Memorial Day as well. That's unreasonable, and that's not how emotions work. I think, and she's right. They're gonna talk it out and figure out something. That's what you're supposed to do as a couple. Anybody in the comments that was saying that, oh, you need to divorce him, bitch, shut the fuck up. You've never been in a relationship, and this is from somebody who will check out quick. This ain't a checkout thing, though. Okay, I would not walk away from my marriage because we had a disagreement about this shit. We would just sit down and figure it the fuck out. That's not a big deal.
And I don't care who is listening that hears this. Red will check out faster than you.
Yes. I will.
She'll check out faster.
I fucking will. 100%.
If you want to challenge it, come on to the show and let's have a conversation about what your checkouts don't look like versus what her checkouts don't look like.
And I can prove it. Like, I feel like people...
I'm her receipts.
Yes. I can fucking prove it. I'm not just saying this shit. I feel like I tell, you go on dates with people and, like, you get to know each other and you tell them, like, yeah, my threshold is short. And I feel like other women say that and then they just like take it. So niggas really think that when you say that, you just like, just talking big shit. No, nigga, I will literally not give a fuck about what happens to you in your life. Like, I won't care. I won't think about you. I will not be upset. I won't be angry. I won't be anything. Like, I completely turn that shit off all the way. So with me being that way, I wouldn't do that for this. This is stupid. That would be a very dumbass reason for me to end a marriage because we couldn't agree on this small ass shit. This is simple. Just have to figure out how we're going to do this. Not a big deal. So it's not divorceable. Not for me. Not this. I wouldn't get a divorce about this. Like, even if we had to just celebrate the kid's birthday on
It's
another
wild
day.
that people still throwing out the option of divorce in the moment. Like, people are diagnosing how his whole personality must be and how that must impact you and him as a family because he does this. It don't have to be that every time, y'all.
You have to have an understanding of people's perspective. Because, again, in the edit, immediately it cleared everything up. What he does is honor, and like, he obviously is probably not in the best of moods. He's sad. He's feeling negative emotions on that day. That just rounded it all the way back around. And all you had to do was ask a simple, what does he do on Veterans Day? Instead, y'all assume that he's sitting up in his underwear drinking beer, just not doing anything. And y'all just went ham in the fucking comments. Calm down. Y'all are doing the absolute most. Relax. Fuck. It's too much. Y'all be doing the most. That escalated unnecessarily. And then to devolve into grinder shit is just, I'm confused. I'm so confused. But yeah. I think this is just something that they're going to have to work out. I don't know that she knew what we didn't know, and she still said what she said, so that does kind of make her an asshole, right? Because we didn't have that information about what he actually does, and she did. But also, this a new baby, and new moms are some of the most irrational ass people when it comes to they fucking babies. They just are. I hate being around new moms. I don't want to see the picture of your little wrinkled baby. I don't care. Now I gotta sit up here and be like, oh my god, he's so cute. Oh, I don't know how you get anything done all day. Oh, he's so cute. I really don't give a fuck. He looks like every other baby. He was swimming in fluid for 9 months. He looks like he was swimming in fluid for 9 months. Like, let him grow into his face before you come shoving phones in my face, asking me if the fucking baby's cute. Hate new moms.
And white babies look different than black babies. White babies look like old men when they come out. They look like a George Burns looking ass motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, they look like fucking, what them dudes name? Magneto and Professor X.
Yeah.
That babies be coming out looking like them motherfuckers, and they have to grow into looking like a child.
Grow into their face before you come filling the office full of pictures and running up. Oh my god, he opened his eyes. That's what fucking baby. And again, y'all, if I ever have a baby, feel free, if we're still doing the podcast, to call me out on this. If I get on here talking about all of the cool shit my kid does, I just don't feel like I'm gonna do that because that's what he supposed to do. Like, and maybe I'll feel differently if it's my kid. I don't have an emotional attachment to a child or children in general, so maybe that's why I feel the way I do. But like, people really be so excited about, like, he rolled over. I get my dog to do that.
Listen, any of my friends and anybody that know me that have a baby, all I ask is that when you have a baby, you don't expect me to be anything different than I am now. Don't expect me to say, oh, he's cute or she's precious. I don't use that kind of fucking language. I'm going to say, damn, that baby look like a baby. Look, that motherfucker, little bitty ass fingers. Damn, been a long time since I've seen some little ass fingers.
Now, their little hands and feet are cute because they're so tiny. And I think little things are cute, you know, puppies and baby hands and feet. Their faces they just look like they've been swimming in fluid. Like, give me time, or give them time to grow into their face, and then ask me, and I'll give you opinion then. But like, I feel like all fresh babies look the same.
And I've joked with a lot of y'all about babies. So
right.
If I joke about your baby, I don't want to hear no shit.
My baby?
Any baby.
Oh,
I'm gonna joke about your baby too.
Yeah, I don't care.
Let your baby come out with some dark lips. I'm gonna be like, that baby got them black and mild lips. Your baby was smoking blunts in the womb, burning them lips, lip tips. I would talk shit about your child. I don't give a fuck. And if our friendship have to end from that, I will not lose any sleep. Don't bring your children around me.
Bananas.
Because I will roast them, not because, I'll do anything inappropriate to them. That's not what I meant.
I think that this is just a situation where they need to talk it out. That's it.
Yeah.
It's easy.
They'll talk it out. It'll be fine.
Yep.
Everybody wins.
Yep.
Now, we could just finish the show with the stuff Colin sent us.
Yeah, because I've talked so long about religion randomly that they took up a lot of time.
Colin also sent us a news story about something that happened in Montgomery, Alabama.
And this is what I was talking about not having time to repent before death.
Ground crew worker killed after being ingested into a plane engine at Montgomery, Alabama.
Have you ever seen one of those, like something like, I ain't seen a human do it, but I've seen where like some or something on the thing. The intake is so powerful that it's like seconds, just.
Yeah.
And I think it does a human body the same way. So that's why I say he wouldn't even have no time to repent, because he ain't even gonna know what happened. He's just gonna wake up in heaven and be like, what the fuck?
The only time I even ever seen that is in the episode of Family Guy when him and the chicken was fighting.
Oh, yeah.
And then at some point they got to the airport and Peter was looking up and he looked worried and the chicken was like, what you looking at? And then he turned around and then the chicken like, Baka!
Yep.
You know, they got the little... But,
it's quick.
Yeah.
It's fast.
But it happens fast. So, a member of an airline ground crew working at Alabama Airport died after an incident in the facility. Ooh. The National Transportation Safety Board said in a statement that a member of ground support personnel was ingested into the engine of an aircraft while it was parked at the gate with a parking brake set. I'm going to go to the comments to read like some insight on this kind of thing, and afterwards I had a question that I thought of when I read it before, so we'll see if it come back. Apparently, it happened on arrival from what I read elsewhere. The standard is to have bags start to be scanned around 2 minutes after arrival, so ground crew is rushed to get the baggage doors open. Also, this aircraft had an inoperable auxiliary power unit. Aircraft usually have 3 power sources: the engines, the terminal when on the ground, and the APU. It takes time to hook up ground to power, and normally they cut the engines and use the APU while waiting to be hooked up to the terminal for power. But for this aircraft, they had to keep the engines going. Sometimes the pilots can shut off one engine, but apparently did not hear. Likely in the rush to get to the baggage door, they didn't take note of the engine approach too soon. Although the airport mostly sees smaller jets with tail-mounted engines, the Embraer 175 was one of the few wing-mounted engines they would see, which are far more dangerous to the people on the ground. Now imagine this being like your first day at work or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody happy you done got that good job at the airport. You've been trying to do it for a year. You've been down on your luck in your life. At least it's a quick death.
Yeah, again, that would have happened so quick he wouldn't have even known. He didn't feel anything, like he wasn't gonna have any awareness, because it's so fucking fast. Like you just gone. Like I can't imagine being like the living people. That was a mess.
Yeah,
it's just like somebody had been through a blender, just shot out, just innards. Like,
that's wild.
I could go back to work after that. Fuck that. That's unfortunate.
The next one says, and this is just another person giving some insight. I worked the ramp crew for 6 years. I still remember in human factor training, they showed us aftermath videos of people being ingested by turbines or chopped into pieces from propellers. You never approach the plane until you hear the engine spool down and see the fan blade slow down, specifically to prevent ingestion, and beacon lights turn off when they're working. Even at near idle, the top half of your body will disappear before you knew what happened.
Shit.
If you worked running bags on tugs or work certain types of planes like CRJs, it's easy to forget. Ramp is a fucking dangerous place if you don't have situational awareness or don't pay attention. I've personally known half a dozen people that died out there and far more injured. Not to mention the shoulder, back injuries and hearing lost baggage handlers inevitably get. I fractured my wrist and knee myself and I got off light. We just had a girl nearly killed after being hit by a lab truck here in Atlanta. Damn. In Atlanta, that's a big one.
That's a big one, yeah. Montgomery's airport's not that big.
That shit is wild.
Yeah, I would think that there would be safety precautions in place. Otherwise, people would be getting sucked up into them engines all the fucking time. So I wonder if this was like his error, like human error.
You know what? The question I was going to ask is, how much do you think something like this factors into people committing suicide?
What do you mean?
Like, this could have been a plan. Like, this could have been...
that he, like, walked out?
Like...
I mean, I guess. It's such a special... You would have to work in that particular job to have access to that.
And nobody would ever know that it was a suicide unless you left a note. Like, it would just be written down as a mistake, an accident, like this one was. But it's like, man...
I mean, I guess it could have been. That would be... It's just such a unique way. I'm committing suicide.
But you know the thing that keep people from, like, there's a lot of people, like, if there was a button that they could press and that they could die with no pain and it was silent and
yeah, but
they press the button.
he still had to walk up to there to get close enough to get sucked in. Like, I would chicken out. That's too much. It's not quick enough. As far as, like, it's quick once he got up there and it sucked him in. But he had to, like, get to the point where it would suck him in.
Mm-hmm.
And that part is, like...
But that's the part of suicide where the person is driving home. They know where their gun is. They go, they get it, they take it out. Like, at some point, you're going to get to that point where the ultimate decision needs to be made of whether you're going to do it or not.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I'm not saying that was potentially suicide. I'm just saying that, like, there are things in this world that people could do that would mask over them having committed suicide.
I mean, it'd be a great way for the insurance company. And without a note, you'd never prove that he did that shit on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, tell you the family will get the insurance. I mean, it'd be a, you know, suicide's terrible, but it'd be a good way, I guess, to do it and still be able to leave things for the people behind. Because, yeah, without a note, you know. Because that does happen, which is why they have videos that they show apparently in the training, like, don't do this shit, this what happens. So, I mean, it happens not often enough. Yeah, it'd be, I mean, you know, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And see, I would be the person that would be getting in trouble because I'm sure that they have to, like, get the baggage and stuff off in, like, a timely manner. But I would be the person that would always be getting in trouble because, bitch, I'm going to make sure that engine is fucking out. If you think I'm finna get sucked up in the goddamn engine because you rushing me, cuss my ass. If I still feel like I hear that fucking engine, fuck you, okay? I will go when it's safe because I don't want to be confetti.
Imagine still being on a very deep time crunch to get people's bag to the, you know, the departure, not the departure, but the arrival.
After that
gate.
happens, I don't
After
think that. Like that.
People just got off that flight. People just got off.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, the people didn't even went off the flight by the time that happened.
So yeah, I don't think you'd be in a crunch because they're gonna be too busy trying to figure out what the fuck happened, cleaning it up. Like, I don't think that they're gonna be that worried about the bag. That would be one of those situations where people would be like on TikTok talking about it's taking forever for me to get my bag. I don't know what's going on, like bitching and moaning, not knowing that somebody just got sucked up in the fucking.
Or imagine
engine.
being on the inside looking in the window and you just see somebody just get sucked into that thing. I bet, you know how in movies and stuff, now I don't think this would be me, but you know how in movies when they see somebody die and they throw up or they see a devil. I don't think I'd throw up, but I can see some people getting that kind of sick.
Not from seeing him get intake, like taken in, but from the output, I would throw up. Mm-hmm. Because I'm sure it just splattered a bunch of...
I don't think it would.
Where it doesn't just go through?
It depends on what kind of engine it is. I don't think all engines have a... Wait, do all engines have a out to the back?
I don't know.
Because sometimes when you see those engines, parts of the plane, it's shaped like a cone where it's closing on the back. But like on TVs, like where it be big ones, yeah, it do be something that come out the back. So I guess it depends on the kind of engine or the plane made.
If I just saw him get sucked in, I'd be shocked with that way to make me throw up. I would have to have seen the after effects. And that's another reason why, like, so that's one of the dangers that people risk when they try to, like, board these airplanes without paying and fly to places in, like, the baggage claim place. You gotta walk past all of that shit to get under there to get in there. One, you risk freezing because apparently I don't know why you freeze in there, but people die from, like, exposure in there too. But also getting sucked into engines just to get a free flight to somewhere. It's not worth it. It's just not fucking worth it. That's crazy.
But yeah, appreciate that, Colin.
Yep.
You always hit us with some good stuff to talk about, think about, have healthy dialogue about. Anybody else that wants us to read something, please don't hesitate to send it.
Mm-hmm. Well.
You got anything else on your mind?
No. Not watching anything new, not playing anything new. Mm-mm.
Anybody on here who plans on playing Diablo 4?
I will be playing that.
It's coming out in June. Anybody who play Diablo 4, holla at me. Anybody who play Ark, I just got back on. We got a server. Holla at me. We can get on it together.
I will be playing Diablo 4. Diablo 3. I still play Diablo 3 sometimes. I just got it actually. I have it on Xbox and I have it on my Switch so I can just play it randomly. But those kind of games where there's like classes and you can be like a mage or whatever, those are the kind of games that I enjoy playing. I like those kind of games. Shooters and shit, nah. Resource gathering too, I've gotten into as well. But yeah. So the next time I play a new game will probably be when Diablo 4 comes out. Until then, I'll just be playing the shit I've been playing already.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Well, until we come to the next conversation.
We out.
Holla.